My problem in South African politics is that I'm not a pushover. No one can push me around. Not white monopoly capital, not a white person, not so much powerful leader can push me around. And I'm hated for that no one can push me over. Such someone from a poor background, so poor family and so poor everything, who is he to think he can defy us? But that's me and that's my nature. I don't care. I stick to principle. No one can push me over. Not in a marriage, not in my family, not in politics, not in the social circle. I'm no pushover, and I'm not going to allow anyone to push me over.
Hi guys, welcome to another video. It's Ndagire here. So this is a person that I always have to share. Like, I just can't help myself, and with these times and everything that is going on in South Africa, I had to share what, of course, Julius had to say about what Trump was saying about the withdrawal of money with the land expropriation, and him trying to threaten South African countries, like, we should be moving on to the hands and the rules and regulations of the US because they own us somehow. And this is a person that is not afraid to call anybody out, especially when it comes to like pumped people. And this is why I say they do not like him, and why they'll do anything possible to never accept him to be the president of South Africa, or even Africa as a whole, to connect. Because when these minds connect, like the one of Julius Malema with the rest, like let's say of Ibrahim Traore, who are all fighting for like the African freedom, the PAN people will never accept that, or even ever allow the media to speak good about these people. But yeah, guys, listen to what Julius had to say about the Trump threats with the tweets and the messages that he's threatening and pushing into African nations, and what he has really been up to. Like, I just love this man. Yeah, listen to him, and yeah, let me know what you think.
My view is that Donald Trump is contributing in this debate which is going on. And in the process of contribution, Donald Trump make a similar contribution that were made by white people, all of them, in the hearings, in the public hearings. Donald Trump is not saying anything we have not heard from white people in all the hearings. I even commented and said, I'm still to meet a white person who support expropriation of land without compensation. So why are you shocked? I see leaders of the EFF and everybody responding to Donald Trump. I don't have time for nonsense. I expected this, and more backlash is going to come. If South Africans are not ready to expropriate the land because they are scared of sanctions, they are scared of backlash, then don't vote for the EFF. Because you vote for us, we are going to expropriate land, and Donald Trump will come for us, and Britain will come for us, and the EU will come for us. I said this throughout my life in the movement, that for everything good comes the pain before. If you're not prepared, South Africa, to take the pain, then forget about the land. Donald Trump has not said anything extreme. Things are still going to come. I hope the Zuma group in the ANC, which is supporting this thing, they know the consequences. We know the consequences. We know that the first response will be killing. They will kill us for that. There's a group of white right-wingers who are being trained by Jews in Pretoria to be snipers. Snipers. They are not training guns. In the EFF, we are training toy guns. They're dealing with real stuff. They are training in a farm in Pretoria. We know it. To be snipers. So we know that death is the first price we are prepared to pay. The second price we are prepared to pay for this land is poverty. They will close taps. But if there is a conviction, and not sloganeering and public opinions, then we must be prepared for everything. It's a war. We must be prepared for Donald Trump and all of them. We're not scared of them. We remain unshaken. Actually, we are more determined after the Donald Trump tweet to expropriate our land without compensation. There's no white genocide here. It's an absolute rubbish to say there is white genocide. There is black genocide in the USA. They are killing black people in the USA. There is black genocide here in South Africa. Black people are being killed all the time. A farmer has been sentenced to life now recently for having killed a farm worker. Imagine if it was a black person sent life for having killed a white person. It will be news all over. But this black person was killed and a white farmer sent to prison for long time in jail. It's once off reporting and it's done. There is no scientific evidence that points to any white genocide in South Africa. It's not true. And we're not scared of such things. We're not going to be distracted by anyone. Only death will stop us. Not Trump, not poverty, not sanctions. We have all of them in our mind. We know the consequences of what we're asking for. We know it. And it's not like we're going into this thing without knowing the consequences. So AfriForum is the embassy of the USA. If you want issues to reach USA, go to AfriForum. Then you shall get a proper response. But otherwise, AfriForum is nothing to us. We're not scared of AfriForum. We're continuing business as usual. Not that we're not these Twitter revolutionaries who say all sorts of things about Donald Trump. If you have to say to them, all of them, let's go to the US embassy, none of them will come. They tweet from their comfort beds with bed heaters. So we are on the streets. We were fighting this thing on the streets. We are on the picket lines. That's why we're not shaken. We know this is what people want. And if there is anyone who's in this thing without knowing the consequences, then you are in a wrong place. That's why you've got this noise from Donald Trump. They are at the center of that. They thought they were going to bully the ANC in that GNU, and the ANC will develop a cold feet. The ANC is pushing forward ahead. They now are seeking external intervention, which seeks to undermine the sovereignty of South Africa. So the ANC must know that we are just outside, we're at the doorstep. Once they remove the DA and they want a partner, we are in. There's no government that is going to collapse here because Helen Zille says so. We're not going to hear from Helen Zille. Our people have worked the land before the arrival of Jan van Riebeck and fellow criminals. There was no certificate. They worked the land. Our people produced gold. There were no certificates in Mapungubwe. So, but because we now have relations with you through globalization, we appreciate that you may need some paper to prove that indeed we know how to work the land. We will professionalize it. These white people who are owning this land today, when we take it, let's not expel them. Let's give them offers to be managers who will employ them and pay them. Since they claim to have skill, but they will have to produce a paper. So before we're even told about a certificate, let them first produce certificates themselves. They do not have. It's only black students who must prove through a paper that they can do these things. But despite that certificate, they will still work the land. Because it is their land, they don't have to prove to anyone that they've got a certificate to work it. Since we agree, let's make it clear, more clearer, so that there is no confusion around it. And no one can be dragging us to courts and the courts and the courts when we take the land without compensation.
He believes it's theft. Just taking land from someone is theft. No more, no less. So he believes you can't, no matter how bad the injustices were in the past, you can't fix it by grabbing.
And that is madness. How does taking my car, which you stole from you, become a theft? You steal my car, I come and take it. I find it, I take it. In Terra's mind, that is theft. I mean, that is insane. We're not stealing anything. We're taking what is rightfully ours. But I'm not taking my car and leaving you stranded. I give you a ride. is my car, I'm taking it.
Without compensation. How are you getting a ride?
No, I'm giving you a ride. We're driving together.
Right.
I won't leave you here stranded.
Right.
Yes. Why should I compensate a criminal? You steal my car, you want money from me to buy it for. You're committing more crime by wanting me to buy from you. I have no time for borders. Why? I have no time for colonialism. They don't have borders in Europe. But when it comes to us, they say, no, you must have borders. Why? The division of of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent. Can you imagine the minerals of DRC combined with the minerals of South Africa and with a new currency based on the minerals? What we can do to the dollar if we become a United States of Africa with our minerals alone? We can collapse the dollar. We can collapse the strong pound that is based on gold, yet they don't have a gold mine.
When you see a black person, when you see an African person, everywhere else in the continent, in the diaspora, and all over the world, please be kind to African people, for because they are a hated nation. The image of the African as a black and subhuman was forged through massive and violent enslavement of millions of African people sold in the Americas as properties of white colonial settlers. Pan-Africanism is never forgotten noise of the painful cries of those captured slaves whose black bodies were swallowed by the Atlantic Ocean from the slave ships. It is the bravery of those African former slaves who will define citizenship on a racial definition of blackness, declaring that Haiti belongs to black people regardless of the color of their skin. It is the intellectual heritage of Marcus Garvey, W.E. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, Pixley Isaac Aseme, Charlotte Mateke, Winnie Mandela, Kwame Nkrumah, Seiko Tore, Julius Nyerere, Haile Selassie, CLR.A. James, Frantz Fanon, Thomas Sankara, and today our own Prof. Lumumba, together with us, must carry the mantle of the African Pan-Africanist core. Pan-Africanism is a set of ideas written in chains with blood, spear, and the unforgiving guns of the sons and daughters from the Algerian Revolution to the Battle of Kutoko-Naval. It is the one-party state of Africa as a whole, as professed by Marcus Garvey. It is Ami Caesarius' negritude, Kwame Nkrumah's African socialism, Steve Biko's black consciousness, Julius Nyerere, Ujamaa. It is also Mbeki's African renaissance, all based on forging a unity of African people who are formed by the same history and must seek after common destiny. It is the cultural movement in jazz, R&B, reggae, funk, blues, Kwaito, Juju Nigeria, Chimorenga Zimbabwe, Magosa Cameroon, and Benga Kenya. It is the novel Things Fall Apart, The Devil on the Cross, Maru, The Trails of Brother Jeru, Songs of Solomon, and Notes of Native Son. It is the artwork of Gerald Sekoto, Chike Anyako, Oche Okeke, Edmonia Lewis, the religious movement of Bishop Lekhanyane, Mangu, and Shembe, the Coptics of Egypt and the Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, as well as Islamic denominations from Tunisia, Nigeria, Kenya, all deserve a place in the rich thinking and knowledge about Africa and its people. Many of you confuse the unity of Africa to mean collaboration or cooperation. We don't want to cooperate, we don't want to collaborate, we want to be one, and being one means we must share the same vision and the same direction.
As you've seen the video, this is a person that is open to say, like, I don't give a F about what Pan people think about me. I don't care about what they say. They don't own me, and I'm not owned. Like, they cannot even get anything to, like, own me on. And that is something that the Pan people cannot stand. When you cannot be bought, you can't be on their side. They don't know where to trigger to get, like, you to submit to them. And it's something they've always done to, like, demolish demonize leaders like Julius Malema, who are so open to talk about Africa's progress, Africa's freedom, Africa's unity, Africa as a whole to be like this beautiful place where African people, black people enjoy to be in. And every time he comes up and he's like, you stole our land and you need to give it back, it triggers them. And that's why the white South Africans had to run to Donald Trump and be like, these people are being racist to us. They are taking down the lives of white farmers. They are trying to take away like our land, the same land that they know they stole. They did not come and get that land in peaceful manners. They had to take down the lives of black people. And guys, when we talk about these things, it's not like to be racist or whatever. It is to speak facts. It is facts. It's things they did. And I hate when these people are always like, that happened in history. Like, we should move on. You guys don't want to move on from the things that you own in the African continent or the things that you stole from black people. Look at the museums, guys, in Europe. They are full of indigenous things of people that are not palmed people. How do you expect us to let that history go when you're still owning things that don't belong to you? You don't want to give them back. When we come out as the true owners of those things and we are like, okay, we can actually reach an agreement where we take our land back. Okay, we don't chase you out, we give you employment, you show us documents that you're supposed to be here, and life moves on. No, it should be in the eyes of the palm people. If they do not control something, it is not worth to talk about. It's not something worth. So seeing that South Africans had to run to the US, the big brother, for him to even issue a statement of how why people are being attacked in South Africa, how the land is being taken away from a specific group, it makes you question, did he care when the land was taken away from black people? It definitely shows you that they are scared because they are seeing that things are changing and unfolding, and they can no longer control most of the things that we own, because now we are educated, young minds are waking up. Like, a lot of us are seeing things that are going on, and we are able to look into history and learn, and that's something they never expected, because even when you look into history, they never allowed black people to read, African people to read. The only thing they gave us to read was the Bible to make us submit to them. But now that we are able to access information and we are able to see the truth, you guys are freaking thieves, you are freaking murder, yes, you are freaking mad sick people, not all of them, but you know what I mean, right? I mean, as they generalize all of us, black people are lazy and dumb and all that. When I say you guys are colonizers, it's not to say all of you are, but the truth of the matter is you are. I mean, you do know what you did, right? So I love when Malema is so strong and is open to call them out. And even if they demonize him, the information that is moving today on a fast pace doesn't allow them to erase things, and they're not able to erase things, because even if you see in America they're trying to change the education, not wanting to teach about black history or black heroes or black things that happened, you're still going to see that we are still able to access information, and we know that they are no longer able to fool us, and they know they are no longer able to fool us. So whatever they are doing is just for them to kind of slow us down on the pace, but the truth always comes out, and the truth is starting to come out. The empire of the West is falling, their propaganda is falling. African young men are standing up, are waking up, are realizing this is our time for us to own things that we have in our continent, just like West Africa is doing, just like Julius Malema comes out and speaks about these things. It encourages us that we are able to really stand up for our truth and call out BS as it should be called out, and no longer be afraid, because if we don't do that, we're still going to be oppressed and depending on other people. Just like Malema was saying, these things that Trump is saying about do this, do that, is because of him thinking he gives us money through USAID, through organizations, through the UN, and when Africans run to those organizations as well, it's something that puts us down, because it continues to show them that we can't survive on our own. So the more we depend on these Western countries, the more we are going to keep being oppressed every single day, especially African people. We need to wake up from that illusion that we can't survive without the West intervention in African matters, because truth of the matter remains everything that we are facing today was caused or is still caused by the Western influence. They will never be in our good interest. Just like Trump coming up and talking about South Africa, it's not because he cares about the land in South Africa. No, he's only concerned because his people, the palm people, ran to him and they were like, they're trying to kick us out from South Africa, taking land. And this is why these people don't want African people to own land, because they know when you own land, you control most of the things. That's where you put, your families, that's where you put your buildings, that's where you put your businesses. Like, land controls most of the things. And if you don't own it, if you don't have it, you literally don't have anything. Land is everything that makes someone stand and show up for who they truly are. And that's why they do not want to leave, because without land, what is there for them to offer? What is there for them to show up for? Nothing. We need to have strong minds and stand on our ground. Just like Julius Malema said, no success comes without pain, and no revolution has ever come without pain. So we might be just talking, we might be just sharing information, but that is powerful. And it means even the future generation of African people, African children, will get to see these things and continue with this fight, because we are obligated to. We have to, if we need to have equality in this one, not to erase, I don't want to say we should erase all these people away from the world. We can't. I'm not saying we shouldn't work with palmed people or these Asians or whatever. No, we are connected as the world, but we need to reach a point where we are wait a minute, Africa also needs to have its independence truly. We need to work together, open borders, have our own currency, our banking systems that are owned by us, our businesses that are owned by us, so that we can also level up to a place that we need to see ourselves as worth. And that's something that has to come from us and nobody else, not from outside of us. But yeah, guys, that is it really for me in the video. I can't add on this. I kind of yap a lot when it comes to these things, but I just have to, because I can't help myself. And I will never skip a Julius Malema video. And everybody that hates him, you only hate him because he's telling and saying the truth of what needs to be done, and that is Africa to unite. And a lot of people do not want that to happen, because with the resources we have, with the labor we have, with the people we have, with everything that we have in Africa, uniting is a bad no-go for the Western world. But we will make it happen, guys. That is it for me in the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm always posting. Yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.